You have decided to join us today for our Sunday morning celebration service right here at Unity of Citrus County. We invite you to get settled in. Our service is about to begin in just a few moments. It is our sincere prayer that the music, the meditation, and the message will uplift you and inspire you to become the light of the world that you have come here to be. We invite you to come and visit us in person. We would love to meet you. And we invite you to also visit our website at www.unityofcitrus.org. Have a blessed day.
I'm getting back. Hold on.
Microphone. Hey, Joe. Good to see you. Hey, man, I thought you were going to Orlando. You already did? Oh, man. This is my buddy John. This is John Doug. We did a house concert at Doug's house Friday night. Very cool. Microphone. Okay. Only 1 minute till showtime. Timothy Leary, right? Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? Great to have you here. We're going to do a song called Faith Beats Worry. I wrote this song, so you can help me out here. The middle part goes, faith beats worry, faith beats worry, faith beats worry every time. Got it? You'll know when it comes around. Yeah, there'll be a test after the show. Faith It's just so you gotta change your mind because faith beats worry every time. Give yourself a hand. That was great.
Oh, I forgot. I forgot I don't have my mic. Oh, I loaned out my mic. Can you hear me better? Okay. Well, I just want to say to this young man that has visiting, thank you so much for being here with us, for joining us, and you've. Oh, I'm glad it's his fault. I'm glad it's his fault. So I want to invite you to. Actually, I don't want to invite you yet. I want to introduce you. We have a really special guest speaker today. And I am so delighted that he is here. He is the CEO and president of Unity Worldwide Ministries. And we spend the day with, and welcome, woo-hoo. Let me tell you something about Reverend Shad. Reverend Shad was born and raised in Unity, learning Unity principles from his parents, Reverend Jack and Norma Groverland. His passion for music production was ignited while serving in his parents' church, which led him to a 25-year career in sound production and management in Los Angeles and Las Vegas. He was called into ministry and attended the Unity Urban Ministerial School. Woo-hoo, that's my school! Anyway, he received his ordination in 2016. He served at the Unity of Las Vegas for 5 years before returning home to Unity of Boulder in Colorado, where he co-ministered with his sister and father, Jack. He was hired at Unity Worldwide Ministries as the executive director in October of 2020. And this is the first time I have seen any executive director come and visit the churches and be with the people and hear them. And I am eternally grateful for that. Thank you so much. Anyway, he was a youth director, a board trustee, a youth camp counselor, a youth and family team leader, and a next generation Unity minister advisor. So he comes from a real broad background. In 2018, he was appointed to the UWM Board of Trustees and served as secretary of the board in 2019 and 2020. And during his tenure on the board, Reverend Shad served on multiple teams focused on shaping the future of the Unity movement. And he's doing that wonderfully, shaping the future, Unity movement, bringing us all together so that we have clarity who we are, why we're doing what we're doing, why we are here. And so I'm excited for him to be here. He's going to be a guest speaker. Let's welcome him and his beautiful wife, Irina. So now let us do a little welcoming to each other. Please turn to your neighbor, say hello. Glad to have you here. It's great to be here. And now I know that there are people watching us on Facebook and YouTube, so I'm going to invite you to just turn around and say hello to them. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today. We are so, so happy that you are here. And for those of you that are watching us, please know that these doors are open for you at any time. We long to see you and welcome you back home. So know that you are here. We miss you. And if you're watching for the first time, Unity is a positive path for spiritual living. And in our mission in this community is to create a loving, healing, and accepting community for anyone that comes through those doors, where we know that we are divine child of God, creating God's image and likeness, so everyone is welcomed here. So I'm going to invite you now to take a moment to set the intention for today's service. Allow yourself to get really comfortable right where you are. And if you would like, close your eyes or leave them open. It doesn't matter. Just take a deep cleansing breath with me. Bring to your awareness that God is, I am. Right where I stand, I have the allness of God. Where I am is everything that I need, everything I can desire. Right where I am full of potential, full of possibilities. I am one with the universal, powerful energy that we call God. And in this state of awareness, we enter these moments together, open and receptive. For we have come by divine appointment to be in this place today. So we leave behind anything of this morning, any concerns or worries, anything of this afternoon that we're planning to do. We invite ourselves to be here now, to be so present to this powerful moment, the only true, real moment that exists. So with open hearts and open minds, we are ready to allow Spirit to speak to us, whether that be through music or the message or just later on when we fellowship. We are ready. Get ready, my soul. We're diving in. And so it is. Amen. So would you say the affirmation of oneness with me? There is one power and one presence in the universe and in my life. God the good, all-powerful, all-knowing, everywhere present, right here, right now, God. Namaste.
Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel mighty power and God's grace. There's on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Can feel God's mighty power and God's grace. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
another part of the world, the first rays of a rising sun are bringing light to a morning sky. Whether I can see it or not, the sun never stops shining. Somewhere, a new day is dawning. Much more brilliantly than the sun, the light of God, too, is always shining. Sometimes, my thoughts may be so focused on a challenging life situation that I do not sense this divine light. Then, in a flash of insight, I experience again the illuminating presence that, even in my darkest moments, is as near as my next thought. I affirm, let there be light. Affirm that with me. Let there be light. I breathe out frustration and worry. Breathing in, I am filled with the light of truth that illuminates my mind and shines from within my heart. And in the book of Genesis, chapter 1, verse 3, it says, "Then God said, 'Let there be light,' and there was light." And today's daily word is illuminate. Namaste.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul go deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
brought us here today, and we drop it down into the heart, to that place of quiet, that place of coolness, that place of stillness. We recognize today that we are surrounded by loved ones. Our brothers, our sisters, our friends, our family on this path to remembering God as source and us as expressions, as children of that source. Recognizing that when we breathe, it is God breathing through us. When we pray, it's not us praying to God, but God praying through us. And when there is a need in our life, it's not us waiting for God to do something, but is us acting from God to make that change necessary. And so we allow ourselves to sit in this stillness for a moment, just to reflect, to center, and to drop in back into that God space. This stillness is available to us at any point of time during the day or during the week. No matter how hectic life may seem, this stillness is still right here. If we allow ourselves to take a breath, to slow down, and to reconnect. And what a blessing and a gift that is. And so in gratitude, we go forth now from this time of meditation and silence together, committing to ourselves that we will not lose this place of peace throughout the rest of this week. And so it is. Amen. How are you? Are you sure about that? I didn't hear a lot of commitment behind that. Yeah, we're great. Well, let's see how great we are. So I am the CEO, President of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and if you don't really know what that means, me and my staff are here to support the 650-ish ministries we have around the world. And we do that through supporting the leadership, the ministers, licensed Unity teachers, the boards, and eventually you all in the ministries themselves. That is what we work on every single day of the week. That is what we focus on, and that's the only reason we exist, is to support this movement, these ministries, you all, helping you thrive, and then helping us create new ministries to expand this message around the world. I think that's kind of exciting. This side was a little more excited about it. This side was slow to catch on. So after the service, just together, this side's going to explain to this side. Wow, that was exciting. All right, let's just get right down to it. What do you need to be happy? Rhetorical question. What do you need to be happy? I think we can't help it. We have some answers that come to mind. We'll think about maybe Maslow's hierarchy of needs. We'll think about food, water, shelter. We'll think about, well, I need a car to get to work, or I need a job, or I need to be able to collect my unemployment or my retirement, whatever it might be. These things just sort of flood our mind of what we need to be happy. But then when you really stop and you say, what do I really need to be happy? There's a lot of layers to that onion that you could keep peeling away. And you say, if I really just tuned out the nonsense, what do I really need to be happy? Well, this is a question that has sort of followed me throughout my life. I was born and raised in Unity. So I was exposed to some principles that very few other children my age were exposed to, that were an absolute game changer in my life and always have been. And that's why I've been always very passionate about getting this message to youth. Because I grew up getting to see how I would approach the world differently than my friends around me, and how when difficulty struck, of course, I was pained by difficulty, but I was approaching it with a much different mindset, and I was moving through it in a much healthier way. And it wasn't that my life magically didn't have difficulties other people's lives had. It's just my approach, my response was different. And I noticed that. I wondered why people freaked out so much about things in their life. It's like, things will happen. It's part of life. But so many times in my life I came back to, what do I really need to be happy? Because we have this very prescribed path in this culture to happiness that none of us voted on, right? None of us got together and said, all right, well, let's lay out what this path is towards happiness. Someone, somewhere, probably a corporation, came up with the prescribed path to happiness for us. So now we have it. It's, well, you go to school, you graduate high school, you go to college, you go after a good degree, you get that good degree, you go after a career that you're probably not going to enjoy whatsoever, but who cares, because it's just there to make money. And then you just got to start piling on the debt. You got your student loans, then you got to get your car debt, and then you got your house debt, and then you got to get a marriage, and you got to get a marriage debt, and then you have all this stuff going on. So that's really, and I think about my guidance counselor sitting me down, in high school, even college. And they say, all right, well, you got to take this class, you got to do this thing, you got to fill out this application for this scholarship, you're going to want to go to this school. And they laid out this whole plan, but at no point did they say, and this is when joy will come. Right? At no point did they say, and then this is when joy will come into your life. And you get a career, you get a job, you get going on that, you start climbing the ladder, people have a plan for you, you can go to this, you can become a supervisor and a manager, and then you can, but no one ever says, and this is when joy will come into your life. I never heard that anywhere except in Unity. So having been raised in Unity, I had that in the back of my mind. You've got a plan for me, but you yourself don't look happy. Did anyone else ever have that experience? The person advising you on what you should do with your life doesn't look like they're enjoying their life. And so at what point you have to stop and say, what do I really need to be happy? This somewhat smart individual said, a calm and humble life will bring more happiness than the pursuit of success and the constant restlessness that comes with it. Albert Einstein. Now you would think when this smartest human being on the planet makes a statement like this, we would all stop and go, maybe we should listen to that. Maybe we should consider this to be something we should think about and shift our lives around. Maybe we should shift our schools around that and our careers around that. But what did? We went, let's make that a meme, put it on social media, and forget about it. That's a neat post, like. That's as far as I'll do anything with it. I'll just hit a little like button, or I'll heart that, or I'll share it with a friend. Think about what he's saying here, though. This is the mastermind of the planet Earth, right? If aliens came down, they'd say, bring us your best. And at that time, we'd say, here he is. And he'd say, oh, well, what I figured out is a calm and humble life will bring more happiness than the pursuit of success and the constant restlessness that comes with it. Aliens would go, that sounds good. Let's all do that. And the Earthlings go, nah, that's dumb. So we completely ignore what one of the greatest minds told us after a life of living and studying brings happiness. What do? We do the exact opposite. We spend as much time as we possibly can packing garbage into our lives to bring stress, illness, worry, separation, loneliness, and depression. As much time as we can possibly put towards doing that, that's what we do. And our media is making sure we stay in that system, right? Constantly pushing more garbage into our consciousness. The news, just fear and sickness and doubt and death and who's been murdered in your area. Now you've got to be afraid of this person and that person that looks like this. Just constant programming, and our movies are doing the same, and the books are doing the same, the podcasts are doing the same. Social media, don't get me started on that. Just cramming garbage into our consciousness morning and night, and we have the TV on all day in the background. Just blah, 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 blah. What did we just hear recently, that 60% of people leave the TV on all day long because it's become their new home companion? It's now shifted from being a source of information and entertainment. They now say culturally it's a companion. It's become a companion. Does that concern anyone else in the room? Anyone else concerned about that? Is it just me? Am I all alone here? Can I get an amen? Amen. Okay, let's come back to life once in a while. But here's the thing that blows my mind. So I've been thinking about this my entire life. What truly brings happiness? What truly brings joy? And when I would stop and think about it, it was when my life was the most simple. When I had a job that wasn't overly complicated, that wasn't overly that important. I was installing car stereos. I remember I was installing car stereos. Not the most important job on the planet. When I left that job, I didn't think about it at all. Like when I went home at night, there was no thought in my mind about that job. I went and just enjoyed my life. Not a second thought. It was simple, paid enough just to have a good apartment. I had a simple apartment. I was really happy. I had time with my friends. We all had stupid, meaningless jobs, and we were totally happy. But I grew up in Boulder, Colorado, which is in some ways considered the sports capital of the world, especially for skiing. But yet we had a term for people that modeled their life after doing what they love, and we call them ski bums. Bums. Individuals that worked only enough to do the activity they loved most, we called bums. God forbid someone actually just did what they loved in life. You should be shamed. You should be pushed to the outskirts of life, you bum. You're supposed to be in a cubicle under fluorescent lights just hating life. That's where you're supposed to be, chasing the mighty dollar, not enjoying it. So the crazy thing is, I realize as I'm reflecting on my friends and me and growing up and looking around me, we all hold each other accountable to this system of nonsense. We actually shame people that are stepping outside of that system. People that are taking a gap year, we go, oh, well, you're never going to go back to college. That's a horrible idea, to try to go figure out your life before you go spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. What are you, insane? No, go spend hundreds of thousands of dollars and then figure out your life now that you have the debt. We shame people that are trying to step out of the system to do something different, that say, I don't buy that this ever brings happiness. We have another great mind, fictional maybe, but Mr. Miyagi said, focus, Daniel's son. Focus. If we had any focus in our lives, we might be able to have a moment of clarity on what actually brings joy. But we're so scattered with all the different things we have been going on, all the informational resources, all the ringtones in our lives. All the information grabbing our attention away from what matters. Because if we focused, we might actually be able to find joy. So society doesn't want you to focus, because when you focus, you spend less time consuming. When you're focused, you don't spend as much time wasting energy and resources on things that don't matter. If you're focused, you do what you love, instead of chasing an illusion of what you think you might have later down the road that brings joy. And the crazy thing is, so we have this system put together, and the people at the absolute pinnacle of the system are superstars, sports stars, are actors, these millionaires and billionaires. We go, those are the ones that followed the system all the way to the end, and they made it. And yet they're horribly depressed, packing themselves full of medications, and often killing themselves. And we still don't stop and say, this system is insane. We go, I would still like to be a billionaire, though. A womanizing, pill-popping, miserable billionaire. That's where I would like to be. Why don't these things shock us back into the reality of life? That's always fascinated me. So here you have another great mind, Mother Teresa. You would think yet another person we might listen to said, live simply. Live simply. Stop cluttering your life with all these distractions and junk that you have to now put in storage to pay for that you never look at. You've added rooms onto your home to store junk you never use. And it has some sort of sentimental value because somewhere someone told you that you have to keep stuff that has sentimental value, and now it's clouding your mind and filling you with guilt so you can't get rid of it. There's all these unwritten rules to hold us into being captives of our own stupidity. Because if we ever stopped to focus on what genuinely brings us joy, the system doesn't want that. And there's no family up there that's controlling the system. There's no single governmental figure or corporation. It's all of us. That's the thing that's most mind-blowing. We keep holding each other accountable to this system of suffering. We buy in and we make sure other people stay in it so that we don't feel left out. If they step out of the system, we shame them so that we feel normal. Even though they're looking back and going, what is wrong with you people? There's another life to live here that is not about suffering. So when I think about my life, I think about focus and I think about what has come to be. The question came to mind, does the way I live my life align with my beliefs and my priorities? If I'm going to focus my life, I want to live a life of authenticity. I want to live a life where people don't look at me as a hypocrite. Now, we are all hypocrites. Is everyone okay with that? To some degree, we're all hypocrites. Everyone say, I'm a hypocrite. That was weak. I want you to own it. I'm a hypocrite. Okay. At some level, we're all hypocrites. But does the world really need more hypocrites? Absolutely not. We are so tired of the hypocrisy in our leadership. Yet we have not even addressed the hypocrisy in our own lives. People say, well, how could this corporate CEO be dumping just gallons and gallons of toxic waste into our rivers? And you go, well, it started with a person that just threw their trash on the ground and didn't pick it up. And then they just had the power to do the same thing in a position, and it was the same activity. If we didn't address the fact that we drop trash, we don't pick it up, and we don't pick up other people's trash, you're doing the exact same thing. You just have less power to do it on a larger scale. But we sit here and judge that person. Well, how could they do that? You just did the exact same thing. They just had a bigger lever they could pull. If we don't address it in ourselves, we can't possibly address the hypocrisy in the world. So at some point we have to say, does the way I live my life align with my beliefs and my priorities? What really matters to you? What is a priority in your life? Is it collecting more things that collect dust and bring stress into your life? Is that a priority to you? I don't think anybody in this room would say, yes, that is a priority in my life. But when you looked at what's happening in your life, that's fundamentally what we spend a lot of time on. So I'm going to go to this. I'm going to set this up. This is from the book of Mark, and I'll bring it up in a second in the Bible. Here's a situation. You have this young father, and he has brought his son, who they say is, they think is possessed with a demon. In modern times, we know that probably that child probably was just had epilepsy or something like that, and they thought it was a possession. So he brings it to the disciples of Jesus, not directly to Jesus, says, can you heal my boy? They cannot heal his boy. So they sort of move it up the ladder. Now they bring him to Jesus, like, can Jesus do this? So now this father has brought his son to Jesus to be healed. And this is where we pick up in the story. Jesus said to him, speaking to the father, "If you are able, all things can be done for the one who believes." Immediately the father of the child cried out, "I believe, help my unbelief." Now, there are times I've debated in my own head if the Bible is real, if the Jesus story is actually real. But then there are moments like this when I read this passage, I go, that is so real. They captured a moment there of this father that's crying out to have his son healed, and that is so real. He knows that his belief will determine if his son is healed, but yet he knows he still has this deep core of unbelief that he has not addressed. And he's crying out to Jesus. He says, "I believe, but I don't really believe. Help me actually believe." Do you see that pain in the father? He knows the healing of his son is dependent on him believing it's possible, but he also knows deep down he doesn't truly believe in this healing. If you're a parent, you can feel that. You feel that moment. This father crying out for this healing, but yet has not addressed the own disbelief in his consciousness. If we really had a priority of God in our lives, if that really mattered to us, our lives would look vastly different. So now we have this father, now he's at the pinnacle of having to address the fact that he doesn't actually truly believe in God. He believes, right? He's sort of the Sunday Christian. Goes to church on Sunday, and then that's the only time this person is Christian. The rest of the week just lives their life. That's sort of this gentleman. He believes, but he doesn't believe. And as a parent or a grandparent, you recognize how much your belief affects the children around you. It's not the words, right? Did you ever figure that out as a parent? It's not what I said. My kids ignore it. My daughter ignores everything I say. But I've seen her following things that I do, picking up on the things that I do, the way that I treat people, the way I treat her, the way I treat situations, the way I laugh at adversity, knowing that at some point I'm going to be on the other side laughing at it anyway, so I might as well laugh at it now. She laughs with me at stuff like that. But I didn't have to tell her, you should laugh at adversity. It's just what we did in the family. What do we actually believe in? I'm convinced we're not just here to live and die. I do genuinely believe there is a divine power at work here, which I call God. So if I actually believe in God, which I do, and I'll speak for myself, I actually believe in God, then God must become a priority in my life. Would you agree with that? Yes. If I actually believe in God, not Sunday believe in God, if I actually believe in God, God would have to become a priority in my life. So what then in my life needs to shift to align with that belief and priority? This is the way my mind works. It's like, if I believe this to be true, I want my life to model to other people that truth. I shouldn't have to tell them. They should be able to look at my life and go, he actually believes in God. Not tells people he believes in God. He actually believes in God by his actions, by his movements. Because I don't want to be another hypocrite on this planet. So I realized there's three things I'd have to do if I really, truly believed in God. One, I'd have to dedicate to a daily spiritual practice. I don't know if you've all heard about this book about how to become the master of anything. And they talk about musicians. It takes 10,000 hours of practice to master a musical instrument. Well, if it takes 10,000 hours to master a musical instrument, how many hours does it take to master your life? Probably more than 10,000. Which means I've got to be logging the time with a daily spiritual practice to get on hold of myself. Because the rest of the society surrounding me is actively working to make sure I don't do that. That's like if you were trying to practice to be a guitar player, you're trying to get your 10,000 hours, and there's 3 people standing there trying to pull the guitar out of your hands as you're trying to practice. That's how much more difficult it is. We're not only working with ourselves, we're working against the society, so we've got to have a daily spiritual practice. I would have to dedicate to my spiritual community. This is so important to your growth, what you have right here. Surrounding yourself with like-minded individuals who support you on this path and aren't trying to tear you down from this path. We know we all have friends and family members that just are not on board with what we've got going on in Unity. If you're surrounded by those all day long, you are swimming upstream, and that is a very hard stream to swim. When you come together like this with like-minded individuals that support your spiritual growth, so when you say, you know what, I'm going to look at my consciousness to figure out why my body is having an ailment, this group could go, yeah, let's do that. Outside these walls, they're going to call the police. That's why spiritual community is so important, to be surrounded by your peers that support and love you on this journey instead of look at you like you're crazy. Third, I'd have to be dedicated to living unity principles. I don't want to be a hypocrite, so I have to be living these principles I talk about and I've heard about and I know about and now I do about. I've got to be living them. Because the best way to advertise unity is to be the walking exemplification of these principles. And do you believe the world needs unity today? Yes. The best way to get it out there is to exemplify it. So I've come to the conclusion I would have to do these three things, and I have to shift my life, not just talk about shifting my life, but actually shift my life in a direction to make these three things happen. I have to make time in my day to dedicate myself to spiritual practice. I actually trained my body to get 1 hour less of sleep every night so I had more time to meditate in the morning. I'm working it. I'm not here to brag about myself because I'm in many ways a pathetic human being. I'm just saying I'm working it. So what is unity principle? We are all one family as children of God, individualized, unique expressions of the one. That's a rough summary of a lot of the things we believe. If I believe that to be true, how will this shift my life knowing I believe it and it is a priority to me? If I truly believe that and it's truly a priority to me, how would that shift my life? How would I interact with the world differently? How would I interact with my friends and family and coworkers differently? Well, for me personally, I came to the conclusion I will not consciously or subconsciously, directly or indirectly suppress or harm members of my God family. That's easier said than done, by the way. I am a white, heterosexual, middle-class male. That comes with a bias and a way of thinking. I have to work every single day to check my bias and the way I think. Because believe it or not, this society was made by people like me to benefit people like me and to suppress people that seem unlike me. And if I'm not constantly checking my consciousness at the door to see what I'm doing and saying, I might be subconsciously contributing to a system that is suppressing members of my God family. We are not all one until we are all treated equitably, which means I actually have to actively work to break and stop the systems that people like me have put into place to suppress other people. Otherwise, I'm letting this continue, and I'm no better than those that started it in the first place. This includes all suppressed groups. Black, indigenous people of color, LGBTQ+, women, people of varying abilities, and animals. I will no longer be party to the suppression, exploitation, or consuming of members of my God family. This is my personal journey. I do not stand anywhere and say, I speak for anyone else. You have to do this, that, or the other thing. I share my personal journey. This has been my story. What God has asked of me might be different than what God asks of you. But I'm just asking you to have the conversation with God at least. What do you really need to be happy? What do you really need to be happy? If you think about those moments in your life that genuinely brought you joy, I bet it didn't cost a lot of money. I bet it wasn't that complicated. I remember one of the beautiful moments in my life was when my daughter was born. That actually cost a fair amount of money, yeah. Cost a fair amount of money. Went to a good cause, though. What do you really need to be happy? I just invite you to let that question sit with you this week. As you ponder the different things you engage with and the things you do and the things you buy. The cute lizard on the window over there. That is happiness. Look at that. Come on now. Mother Teresa's actually, her full quote is, live simply so that others may simply live. We know she did all this work with third world nations, and she saw the absolute gluttony in the first worlds, using up all of the planet's resources at the expense of these other nations that didn't have access to these resources, not sharing all these bountiful blessings we had. And she's saying, come on, people, chill out. Can you share a little? Could you scale your life down a bit to help some of these other people that don't even have access to clean water? There's plenty on this planet for everybody if we're willing to share a bit. So it really starts to open up our mind to this idea of the God family. It's not just my family or the people in this room. It's the trees around me. It's the people on the other side of the planet. It's all of us is this God family. God loves us equally as children. So my wife Erin and I have really taken this to task in our lives. Both of us just don't want to be hypocrites. And so we constantly look at what do we really need to be happy, and every time we asked that question, we realized it was less and less. So we went from a 5-bedroom home and we scaled down to a 2-bedroom apartment. We got rid of a ton of stuff that we really just didn't need. It didn't make us happy. It just brought us guilt. And then we were there and we realized, you know what, we don't even need this 2-bedroom apartment. This is wasteful. We don't use most of this space in this 2-bedroom apartment. So we scaled down again. So when everyone else saw the tiny home movement exploding on TV and all the fun shows and said, oh, I'd love to do that, we said, we are going to do that. And it took a lot of work to figure out how to do it. But we committed ourselves to the cause of tiny living. Because we realized the less things we had to hold us down, the more openness and free will flowing of God could come into our lives. You think about all the clutter we have in our lives is like just shoving logs in a jam in a river. And this is the flow of God. When you start to remove those things, you just start to see the flow of God coming through because now there's space in your life for God. Clutter blocks out God because now your mind's thinking about clutter. So this is our 180 square foot home that we live in at Unity Village. And yes, it does have a shower. People wonder if it has a shower. Yes, it has a shower. So let me close out with what Myrtle Fillmore, our co-founder of the Unity Movement, said. True prosperity is not making money or putting out goods or developing property. It is determining what our souls require in order to cause them to unfold more of God. When I hear people throw around the question, what is the meaning of life? I'm like, that is the most boring question this planet has ever produced. Is to remember and unfold God in your life. That's it. If you're looking for something deeper than that, I don't know what planet you've been on, but it's quite a simple answer. What am I doing in my life to unfold more of God in it? That's what's going to bring me joy. Not the prescribed path that someone who never had joy in their life put together, but this prescribed path that all of the great masters throughout time have said over and over again, stop being so distracted, get focused on your spiritual path, and then you'll find joy. You could read 1,000 books on spirituality, and that's basically what it's going to say. Get rid of the distractions, get focused on your spiritual path, and joy will start to unfold. And that is the truth as I experience it. Thank you.
This song is called The River. It's interesting how every time I play here, somehow the things we talk about and the things we think about plug right into the music. It happens every time. I wrote this one at Unity Village in the Church Without Walls on the back of my name tag during Palooza in '08. Threw a stone in the river, watched it skip across. The part of life I'm living, the part of life I've lost. You know I put my hand in the water, raise it to my face. I wonder how this living ever brought me to this place. I played what I practice what I play, and I know that the fact is it's how I keep myself at bay. The river is my power. One day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 step at a time. I call across the canyon, I hope that I am heard. The earth is my companion, she breathes my every word. I put my hand to the sunlight, shield it from my eyes. I'm fearful that the brightness will show up my disguise. I play at what I practice what I play, and I know that the fact is how I keep myself at bay. The earth is my power. 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 step at a time. I listen to your heart beating, I find my comfort there. The reason we are living is the loving that we share. And when I put my hand in your hand till our day is done, nothing really matters unless you have someone. I play at what I practice what I play, and I know that the fact is how I keep myself at bay. Your loving is my power. 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 step at a time. I am a stone in the river where life has come and gone. And when my time is over, I know I will not be alone. I know we'll always be together, no matter where we go, and it's what keeps me flowing. It's why I love you so. I pray at what I practice what I pray, and I know that the fact is how I keep myself at bay. The river is my power. 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute, 1 step at a time. At a time. time. At a time.
A little bit today. Okay. So it's that wonderful time in our service, that joyous time when we give of our tithes and our offerings, our gifts, and we donate to this wonderful community that is doing so much out there, so much outreach, and we're having fun while we do it. So I'm going to ask you to take your offering in your hands and repeat with me. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I send forth this gift with my blessings and my love. And we thank you, Father, for this offering. We know it is given in love and received in love. Know that it moves through this ministry with the energy of divine love out into the world as good, and each giver is blessed, and each giver is loved, and so it is. Thank you, God. Amen. And so let's repeat the prayer of protection, and then I will talk about a few announcements that we have. The light of God surrounds us. I am light. The love of God enfolds us. I am love. The power of God protects us. I am power. And the presence of God watches over us. I am presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is divine. And so I just have very few messages today. Please, I'm going to ask you to check our bulletin board and the table that we have next to the bulletin board. It has all of our announcements. There's classes that are coming up or classes that are going on. And for those of you who came with us to the line dancing class, we had so much fun. And we were all going in different directions. But Pat Maynard has a lot of patience with us. But it was just fun to be together, so I encourage you to do that. Anyway, we have the Valerie Theater. Tickets are still on sale. You can still get to see that show if you haven't gone. And I will personally be going this afternoon, so I look forward to laughing and just laying back and laughing for a little while. Reverend Lisa Thorpe's class is also up, and I encourage you to sign up for that class. There is a sign-up sheet on the table, and the Healing Journey of Loss workshop, which is coming up with Mary Ellen Shea, and she's a former hospice bereavement specialist, and that would be on the 25th. So I encourage you all to take a little walk by the bulletin board and sign up to classes for these wonderful teachers that have that give up their time and their talent. Thank you so much, Reverend Luz. I think you have a few messages, or if you have a message for us, I think that's it for me. Namaste.
Nice deep breath. And remember, we're going to ponder this week on what do I need to be happy? That's what we want to ponder on. Doesn't take very much. And most of it, like Reverend Shad said, most of it doesn't cost us a thing. So I'm inviting you to please stand up and let's sing the peace song together and know that wherever you are, God is, yes. And Reverend Shad, I'm going to invite you and Irena to join me in the lobby so you can say hello to everyone while we sing the peace song. Have a wonderful, blessed week, everyone.
I'll just play louder. All right. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow, to take each moment and live each moment with peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. You probably turn me off, huh?